Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. National Assembly agrees to hold joint session for the presentation of the 2019 appropriation bill by President Buhari tomorrow. Presidency says alleged threat by some lawmakers to boycott session is misplaced. Chief of Defence Staff seeks legislation for extra budgetary measures to address the funding challenges of the nation's armed forces. President of the Nigeria Bar Association, Paul Usoro, arraigned before a federal high court in Lagos over alleged 1.4 billion naira fraud, gets 250 million naira bail. And US President Donald Trump makes U-turn on threat to shut down government over disagreement with Democrats on funding of Mexico border wall. ChannelsTV.com has more information for you, and on youtube.com/channelsweb you can watch our videos. You can also watch us on your mobile device via your browser or download the Channels TV app for Android and iOS devices from their respective stores. Besides giving you access to news updates on the go, the Channels TV and Channels 24 app have an eyewitness feature that you can use to share pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, tap and swipe to reveal the menu, and then follow the instructions. We have some pictures to share with you. Let's start off with this photo from Ilorin, the Kwara state capital. There it is, showing a parked truck on the road. Our eyewitness reporter says the vehicle has been there since October because the contractor has abandoned the project and is calling on the state government to complete it. And the next set of pictures shows the state of the Takwa Bay jetty in Lagos State. Our eyewitness reporter says it's in a very terrible state and he wants the facility fixed to prevent any danger that could arise. And still in Lagos State is this image of a vehicle moving on 3 wheels along the road in Alimosho. The eyewitness reporter is calling on the responsible agency to do something about this. For all the pictures you sent in, thank you so much, and do send us some more. Let's take a look at some legal matters now. The president of the Nigeria Bar Association, Mr. Paul Usoro, has been arraigned before the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos. Now, he was arraigned on charges bordering on alleged fraud to the tune of 1.4 billion naira. Before his arraignment, Justice Muslim Hassan dismissed arguments from his lawyers seeking to transfer the case to Abuja. Our judiciary correspondent Shola Shoyele reports.
Last week, Monday, the arraignment was stalled because the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, had not served the president of the Nigerian Bar Association with a charge. At the resumption of proceedings Tuesday, the court was told that the charge had been served. A former president of the bar, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Wole Olanipekun, who led the defense team, also drew the court's attention to a letter written by his clients to the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice Abdul Kafarati, seeking the transfer of the case to another judge in Lagos or to any judicial division between Uyo and Abuja. He urged the court to await the decision of the Chief Judge on the issue before proceeding with arraignment. The EFCC's lawyer, Rotimi Oyedepo, was however opposed to the move. He also argued that there was no basis for a transfer of the case and urged the court not to allow an administrative duty of the Chief Judge stall the criminal proceedings, especially as there was no response yet from the Chief Judge. In a ruling on the issue, Justice Muslim Hassan held that going ahead with the arraignment would not preclude the Chief Judge from taking a decision on the letter. He therefore directed that the charge be read to the defendant. The NBA president pleaded not guilty to the 10-count charge of alleged conversion of 1.4 billion naira belonging to the Akwa Ibom state government. After this, his lawyer moved his bail application. In the absence of any opposition from the EFCC, the judge admitted Mr. Usoro to bail in the sum of 250 million naira with one surety in like sum. The judge also ordered the NBA president to deposit his international passport with the court. Further proceedings was then fixed for the 5th of February 2019. Shola Shoyele, Channels Television News.
The police authorities have re-arraigned the Osun State governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Adeleke, on allegations of examination malpractice. Mr. Adeleke was first arraigned on 4 counts in September for alleged conspiracy and impersonation, among other offences. He was, however, rearraigned today with the charges increased from 4 to 7, still bordering on similar offences. The police have accused Mr. Adeleke of conspiring to procure illegal examination results with workers of the community grammar school and arraigned him along with the principal and 3 others accused of conspiring to commit the alleged crime. The police force also accused Mr. Adeleke of making false documents regarding his age and violating the Exam Malpractice Act of 2004. Mr. Adeleke is challenging the outcome of the election, which saw Mr. Oyetola of the All Progressives Congress emerge winner after a declaration by the Independent National Electoral Commission that the election was inconclusive on September the 22nd. Now, the outcome of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, from a meeting with the federal government over salaries and welfare can best be described as counterproductive for students who've missed months of education owing to the strike called by the union. In this report, our correspondent Oluwaseun Ibare examines the back and forth between both parties.
Since its inception in 1978, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has interfaced with the federal government on issues relating to salaries and welfare of lecturers. Over time, the number of universities grew, and with it, the demands of the teachers. The government, on its part, had an idea of what it could provide. During the early stages of discussions, a level of optimism is raised by both parties.
We had very fruitful engagement and discussions, and we hope to continue on the path of progress.
When we get those premises, we shall evaluate them. That is when we can determine whether they're reliable or not.
But as it has been for many years, the meetings have more often ended up in a stalemate.
For now, we are here to reach any concrete decision.
He's a union leader, so if he doesn't get 100%, he might not be smiling.
And when this happens, the union takes to the streets in protest, and the universities end up being shut. Those at the receiving end are students who face several agonizing months at home.
I am not feeling happy because of the strike. We are studying exam and we are left behind. Many rich men has money to send their children abroad. I ask federal government to consider our situation.
This will affect our own academic calendar. Like now, over the years, as a student, I can tell you that we used to spend almost 4 months in a semester, unlike other institutions that at most they can just spend like 2 months and then, let me say 2 weeks, then they will not have their own exams.
The federal government has always maintained that education remains a top priority. But what will make that stance believable in the minds of those seeking an end to the seemingly endless battle with ASU will probably be beyond the signing of documents. There must be a commitment to ensure that all that has been agreed is followed through to the letter. Oluwaseun Ibare, Channels Television News.
Well, let's get a fresh perspective on all this. Joining me live from Abuja is the president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Professor Biodun Ogunyemi. Thanks a lot for joining us on the news at 10.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Good evening. Let's just start by clearing up something. Did you actually walk out of those negotiations with the Minister of Labour yesterday? Because there was a bit of controversy about whether you did or you didn't. So let's hear from you.
No, we didn't walk out. We had a full meeting, and the meeting was properly adjourned. What happened was that when we were leaving that meeting, we told the Honorable Minister that we had not seen anything concrete that they had put on the table, and that because of that, nothing had changed. So when we got outside, because we didn't have any new thing to tell the journalists, we had to leave.
Okay, that was one of the questions that the press asked because they were not addressed. But just let's look forward to what is on the table. Is there nothing in the talks today that can pacify ASU at the moment? Nothing at all?
It's not about pacification. It is about concrete demands. In September 2017, a memorandum of action was signed. The essence of a memorandum of action is that for every item, there is a timeline. There are 4 outstanding issues. the issue of revitalization. Government is owing 1.1 trillion that we need to transform our universities and reposition them for reckoning and global competition. The issue of end academic allowances. The report of the forensic audit is out, and what was in the MOA was that government will pay the balance once the audit was carried out. The audit has been carried out, and the report has been turned in. On the third issue, which is the shortfall, we have submitted the list of universities that are having shortfalls, and the government has taken it from us. The list is with them. We expect them to tell us when they are going to release the areas of shortfall that they owe our people. The last issue, the issue of state universities. We have presented issues surrounding the way governors manage their universities and the issue of proliferation of universities. The government promised to establish a platform. That platform is yet to emerge. So we keep telling them that all we have been having in the last 6 weeks were promises. And that was why we were worried last week when the Honorable Minister of Labor and Employment went to the public to say we will conclude discussion yesterday. So we are disappointed because as at yesterday, there was nothing concrete on the table.
Okay, but the minister did say that...
So it's not about pacification, it's about implementation.
He did say that some of the grievances will be addressed. Just looking at it in terms of prioritizing, because you know sometimes a wish list, you might not get all you want. We don't know what you will get. But what is the top, maybe what's the first demand for you that, you know, would enable you to go to work if that is sorted?
Well, all the 4 areas are important, but what we have told government is that if government cannot give 1.1 trillion that we need to transform our universities, government can tell us there are 5 tranches involved. Are they going to release 2 tranches? Are they going to release 3 tranches? And the government said they will look into what number of tranches they could release. So we are waiting for the outcome of that. When they do that, we will know that the issue of revitalization has been addressed. The total amount owed for end academic allowances has been calculated. We have it on the table now. Government will have to tell us how they are going to pay, what they can pay now. Government has not come out concretely to say, this is what we can pay for revitalization out of 5 tranches. For the end academic allowances, this is what we can pay out of the total balance that has been calculated by government committee. So, and for issue of shortfall, the total amount is there with them. Government has to pay our members who are owed areas of their salaries. And for the state universities, it's about establishing a platform so that we can interface with state governors and tell them what they are doing wrongly in the management of state universities.
All right, I know President of ASU, Professor Biodun Ogunyemi. Thanks a lot for clearing that up for us on the news at 10 tonight. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is attending a summit of the EU and African heads of state and government in Vienna. The summit, which is aimed at boosting economic ties between the continents, is jointly hosted by the Austrian Chancellor Sebastian Kurz and the Rwandan President Paul Kagame. Professor Osinbajo underscored the importance of the meeting with its theme, Taking Cooperation to the Digital Age, as he speaks on how Nigeria has been handling migration challenges confronting some parts of its population.
This meeting is important, desirable, and timely, and Nigeria welcomes the theme, Taking Cooperation to the Digital Age. Given rapid, game-changing developments in technology, Africa and Europe must work together to advance and harvest the economic benefits of the digital economy, and at the same time, prevent a counterproductive widening of the digital gap in Africa. We are, of course, keen to work together to boost the job creation potentials of new technologies, rather than concentrating solely on jobs destined to disappear in the digital age. In Nigeria, we're taking urgent and practical steps to provide such opportunities for our rapidly increasing youth population. Our advisory group on technology and creativity has been working to build an ecosystem for funding, training, infrastructure, and intellectual property protection. under our social investment program, 75,000 young people are being trained in coding, software development, hardware maintenance, animation, and data management. And we're set to train another 200,000 young men and women.
When the news at 10 returns, Central Bank's report shows increased credits to households and corporate entities within the fourth quarter of 2018. That's on Business News. Do join us again.